Good evening, I'm your host, Jack Remington, the Jack Remington Political Analyst Channel. In part 2, I told you who the three entities were vying for the top of the presidency power for the Democrat Party. Number 1, Barack Obama and his cabal. Okay, and those really quickly, those four people that are helping him out. Okay, number 1 is the former Chief of Staff of Joe Biden, Ron Klain. He also worked under Barack Obama's presidency, and he's, as far as I know, the number 2 person. The role, I'm not sure what he does, but he has a very important role to help Barack Hussein Obama. Number 3 is Jeff Zients. He's the current Biden Chief of Staff. He's a pretty good one, too. Number 4, Michael Donilon. He's the Chief White House Strategist. Pretty good as well. And number 5, Big Net Reddy. He's a speechwriter. He works 16, 17, 18-hour days. As a matter of fact, the last 2 I just mentioned, Donilon and Reddy, they both work 16, 17, 18 hours a day, nonstop. And I understand it's at least 6 days a week, if not 7. You know for a fact it's been 7 days since last weekend since that debate. So they've done very well. They want to stay in power. And we'll talk about it in a second. Okay, the second part, or the second set of belligerents for this power for the Democrat nomination is Joe and Joe Biden, or Joe and Joe Biden, however you want to word that. They both want to stay. We already went over why Joe wants to be First Lady. Not sure what Joe Biden's thinking about, but it doesn't matter. He's got the job. He's been propped in there. He was selected, not elected. And number 3, the Vice President, Cackle Harris. Now, I did not make it clear in the last video how the Barack Obama cabal fits in quite completely. Yes, I did explain the part that Obama and his cabal is the de facto Obama third term, and they've been running the country the last 3.5 years, and if Biden can win in November, the Obama cabal gets to stay, and Barack Obama will get his coveted 4th term, and he wants that. The reason the Obama cabal is also vying against the Joe and Joe Biden campaign at the same time is that Obama wants to have the final say on whether Joe Biden gets to stay or not. Barack Hussein Obama wants to decide who the Democrat nominee wants to be. End of story. I know you don't want to hear that. I know you find it hard to believe, but he's making the decisions. He wants to decide who's going to run against Donald Trump in 2024. He's going to go with the one he thinks that could beat Donald Trump, and that's just the way it's going to be. You have to accept that. Yes, Obama wants Joe to stay, like I just said, on one hand and one side of my mouth, on the other side of my mouth. Okay, if Cackle Harris can get Joe removed, either through the 25th Amendment invokement or the original articles of impeachment drawn up by Jim Jordan, Kevin McCarthy was then Speaker of the House, Marjorie Taylor Greene, or MTG in 2021, Obama will fight Cackle to the death politically, and Obama's going to tell her, I'm going to decide what you're going to do. You're not going to do this, and that's going to be the end of that. And she hasn't done it yet, has she? And she's had, almost 2 weeks to do this, and she hasn't done it yet. There's a 1% unlikely possibility with Cackle later, and I'll discuss that briefly. But in this video, we discuss what the Democrats' options are. Okay, number 1, health pending. They could keep crooked Sleepy Joe and hope for the best in November. He beat him once. And remember, the 81 million votes that Joe Biden got in 2020, they weren't Joe Biden votes. They were votes against Donald Trump. So you need to remember that. Number 2, somehow get Joe to quit and elevate Cackle Harris to the nomination, and they're going to have to just pray and hope for the best. But they have an upside for that too. See, even when the Democrats lose, they win. And I'll explain that in a second. Number 3, have the open convention and see if any of the following can get the Democrat nomination. 3A, Gretchen Whitmer. She's the governor of Michigan. 3B, Gavin Newsom, governor here in California. 3C, Hillary Clinton. Don't worry, if she has a pulse, she orgasms of being president. Maybe if Bill had whispered those words like that in her ears years ago, she might have kept them home more often. But sorry for my digression, I'm back on track. 3D, Jared Polis, he's the governor of Colorado. 3E, J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, he's the governor of Illinois. He's the Democrats' imitation of New Jersey's Chris Christie on the Republican side, a big fat slob, except Pritzker is 20 times wealthier than Chris Christie, unless Christie stole more than I thought he has. Number F, Raphael Warnock, the Democrat senator from Georgia, could shore up the black vote in a key swing state. Georgia's got 35% black voter population. Joe Biden won that by 11,400 some votes, thanks to that Raffensperger, the Republican traitor, and that Rhino governor, Brian Kemp. They both got to go. Anyway, it doesn't matter what Raphael Warnock did. He ran over his wife's foot during picking up the kids at daycare, and he slapped her, and he screamed at her, cussed at her, made some inappropriate comments to women. Hey, I got a clean record. I haven't been convicted of anything. He's a Democrat. Need I say more? 3G, Amy Klobuchar, senator from Minnesota. She was the #1 pick on the Padbrokes and Ladbrokes of Ireland, Northern Ireland, and England, and France, and Spain, Germany. You can bet on presidential elections in Europe. And she was #1 on almost all the sites to be the vice president under Joe Biden in 2020 until the George Floyd crapfest happened. And Clyburn extracted that promise from Joe Biden. He had to pick a black vice president. That was the end of Amy Klobuchar. And by the way, she's the one that had 5 vacancies on her pages and her helper staff as a senator. They had job boards for pages and the workers for the Capitol and the Senate. And how that works is you can't pick who you want to work for. I can't say I want to work for Ted Cruz or I want to work for Jim Jordan in the House. And you put your name in an application and then they pick you and you interview with them and they're each audited separately by the GAO, but all the taxpayers still pay out of one big pot. That's how it works. Amy Klobuchar couldn't get help because she took the ashtray, hit her chief of staff in the forehead with it in a meeting one time. Watch this movie called Swimming with Sharks with Kevin Spacey, about the Hollywood screenwriters and the Hollywood producers. That's Amy Klobuchar. She should have been in that movie. I don't like her. She also was the one that had the salad at the St. Paul airport, and she dropped a little fork that comes with the salad, and some kid grabbed it and put it in his mouth. Well, she didn't want to use it. She reached over and grabbed her assistant's comb and used the comb as the thing, and the lady objected, and she was trying to fire her. I mean, so don't take my word for any of this. Look it up for yourself. Okay, she's up for the job again. People complain about Donald Trump. They got nothing on Donald Trump compared to these clowns. 3H, Pete Buttigieg, the current transportation secretary. Worthless as transportation secretary, worthless as the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, worthless candidate, worthless, he'd be worthless no matter where he goes, but he's gay. I'm not having a gay president. Pass. And Donald Trump showed his ass up during the East Palestine train derailment. Pete Buttigieg showed up 31 days later, and what's he do? He berates a female reporter. Someone he might be able to beat up in a fair fight, maybe. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro could sure up another key battleground state. And what's this, these Democrats are in red states. Idaho has a Democrat governor now. They take the job as dog catcher or street sweeper, and they learn the names. They get the paperwork. They work 16 hours a day to climb to the top. They take any job they can and they make it to the top. The Democrats are ruthless and they're relentless. Okay, now if this open convention does take place, and the eventual winner will eventually pick their vice president, but it's going to be shortly after. They're not going to do it at this open convention. And also, if the open convention does take place, that might spell the end of the Barack Obama cabal, because Obama's help may have to apply to work for the new nominee. Depends on who gets it. But if that nominee should win out and beat Trump, but that's one step at a time. They're not really worried about that yet. The Democrats are trying hard to save the Senate, the rule-deciding body of Congress. Those 100 senators can reign supreme if they can get something favorable to them that's going to retain their power. And also keeping the hot potato of getting another moron from getting impeached by the opposition party. I don't mean Donald Trump, I mean Joe Biden. So if you control the House, then you can vote to keep him from getting impeached like they're going to do for Joe Biden. So that's how they saved Trump twice. So that's how that works. So control of the Senate's crucial. So if the Democrats are going to go all in and they're going to go for broke again, they may as well take the 2 chips they just found on the floor and put the chips in the pot too. I mean, what have you got to lose? I mean, and Dems are really good at that. I mean, they're actually free rolling. Okay, so the Democrats generally have a lot of options on the table, but I also agree generally that their bench is weak at best since they got rid of RFK Jr. None of the aforementioned could shine Obama or Bill Clinton's shoes, and that includes Gavin Newsom. Forget about JFK, RFK's uncle, who was murdered November 22nd, 1963. Now, the 1% unlikely scenario I discussed earlier that could take place is Cackle Harris. If Barack Obama can talk Cackle to serve another term as VP under the winner of the open convention, and then promise not to oppose her outright, that she can challenge any of them in 2028. Cackle might be dumb enough to go for that, okay, but she might not. Cackle's real risk here with that scenario is that she would be counting on the Democrats to win in November. Okay, this is a play out of Obama's playbook, just in case Trump does win in November. They will probably be done forever with Cackle if Trump does win. Okay, this is also unheard of, except one time before in American history. The sitting vice president being asked to stay in a position to yield to another candidate for the top spot. Well, he wasn't in power, but he left power just a couple years before that. It was Gerald Ford. He was a vice president under Nixon. Spiro Agnew resigned in 1972, or it was in 73. And then Nixon resigned in 74, so now the vice president, Ford, got elevated to president without a single vote. Remember, think about that, folks. That was his payback for being a good boy during the Warren Commission under JFK's assassination, and he rubber stamped everything. Oh, we can't do this to American people. They can't take it. Well, and now it's come to light that he really did do that. After he's passed, of course, it all comes out of light. So long story short, when Ronald Reagan in 1980, this is where this came up at, okay? He was going head-to-head with George H.W. Bush, Poppy Bush. Bush had just slonkered the 14 delegates from Virgin Islands and actually passed Reagan at the time. And Reagan took a dump in the poll with Bush's voodoo economics, and Reagan wasn't looking too strong. So he asked Gerald Ford, hey, do you want to be my vice president? And at the time, he said yes. But that same day, George H.W. Bush made up with Reagan. They kissed and made up, and that was that. So Ford kind of faded in the sunset. I'm digressing again. This has been bugging me since the guy told me that. I've signaled several videos that George H.W. Bush, they were friends with the Hinckley family, John Hinckley's father, his grandfather, and their uncles. They did business dealings together. He looked this up on Google. Don't take my word for anything. And they were somehow got somebody in the Secret Service. Hey, we don't need the first 15 people in the first 15 feet of leaving Washington Hilton. It's well guarded. No one's there. And Reagan got shot on March 31st, 1981. I was babysitting my son. I had a black and white little portable TV. I had my son over here, and I couldn't believe my eyes. And so George H.W. Bush was a quarter of an inch away from getting the presidency. That bullet lodged right underneath Reagan's heart. Look it up. So, of course, you don't think Poppy Bush would do anything like that. The former director of the CIA, former ambassador to China. His father is Prescott Bush. He ran Texas for 50 years. Oh, you don't think he would do anything like that, do you? Do you? Do you think about politicians? And what I'm finding out is not very pleasant. So, as of this time, this three-way fight for the Democratic control for the presidency is underway with no clear winner yet, but I got to favor Joe Biden, the Barack Obama cabal. They're very powerful and they know what they're doing, and they're going to box people out when the time comes. So one last caveat, and the last remote, but not quite the possibility, that we're going to talk about before I give my prediction. And the last caveat is Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. He's probably going to sit this one out in 2024. He's already given all kinds of excuses why I don't have any money, and I'm fighting a recall, and I'm sticking with Joe Biden. I mean, he's saying all the right things because he doesn't want to get beat in a truncated campaign against Donald Trump because that will finish him for 2028. So Gavin Newsom is thinking ahead. Okay, Gavin Newsom's got more powerful people working for him than Kako Harris has got working for her. You need to trust me on that. In the hopes that if Trump wins, the mainstream media can blame the upcoming recession on Trump. And then here comes Gavin Newsom. I'm going to save the country in 2028. Look what I did for California. Of course, now the rest of the country's fine with this. You have to remember, Gavin Newsom destroyed my state of California in his 6.5, 7 years in office. He's termed out. He can't run it again. And Kako Harris came out a month ago and she said, I might run for governor of California. She's already got her irons in the fire, if you know what I'm saying. She's already got her application out. So I think she's starting to read the writing on the wall. Yeah, Gavin Newsom destroyed my state of California, but the rest of the country is actually okay with that. California has always been on the receiving end of green jealousy and envy, okay, especially the blue states. You think the blue states like California? No, they don't. They hate Californians. Some Californians moved to the blue states and they drive the prices up. That's why they hate Californians. And the one last possibility, I know people keep saying Michelle Obama, and she keeps denying it, but that is still a possibility that she might say, okay, people get bugging me, I'm going to go ahead and do it. If the poll numbers show that no one can beat Trump come November, if Trump gains strength, if he gets steam, Democrats just can't do shit between now and then, which is possible. She might say, I'll go ahead and do it. They'll just put the thing in her ear 24/7, and Barack will be telling her what to say, what to do, and the country's going to look the other way because they're exhausted with this shit. They really are. Okay? But that's still a possibility in my mind, and that's a fear. I got two polls now. The other video I said I only had one poll for Michelle Obama. There's two polls. One's got her winning by 11%, one's got her winning beating Trump by 12%. People are going to vote for her even though she has no qualifications for the job. She had a show-up job that got her first $300,000 job while Barack Obama was state senator in Illinois. You know, she had what we call a Chelsea Clinton job. You show up Friday for the payroll day and you shake hands with people and kiss everybody's ass, put the X for your time card, and you're off. You know, Michelle Obama had that job for 3 years. Okay, and she doesn't know how to do anything. What does she know how to do? She knows how to run her mouth. I've been living in the house put by slaves. That's all she knows how to say. I got 17 clips of that on different parts of YouTube. That's all she knows how to say. But they would vote for her. Why? She's black and she's female. She will control the same demographic Kako Harris controls and Barack Hussein Obama controls. I'm not knocking that. That's the way it is. You need to understand that's how people vote. 85% of people around the world, not just America, they vote by race. They vote by skin color. They want to hear it from people like themselves, including me. That's why I'm saying it's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. I know you don't want to face that. I know you want to call me a racist. I don't care what you call me. You give it to me. Call me a racist. I don't care. Call me anything you want. It's not going to change my mind. It's not going to change the facts. Okay, now I've gone through all that. My prediction. Pending Joe Biden can pass the next physical. And one's coming up next week, I understand. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jim Jordan and Mr. Comer's wife passed the other week. I feel bad for the guy. But they're all pushing. The Democrats say, you wouldn't let us hear that tape for that Jack Ma special prosecutor about Joe Biden in the documents case, how feeble he was. Well, now we want a physical. We saw him on TV at the debate. He's horrible. We want to see a physical. So they're going to force a physical, and I'm sure they got their ways of getting that forced. So pending Joe Biden can pass the next physical, the Democrats will ride with Joe Biden, as per Barack Obama's instructions. They're going to get some benefit. If Biden can win, they get to stay. If Biden loses, they get rid of Kamala Harris. When the Democrats lose, they win. Remember that. That's how they roll. And they're very good. They beat the Republicans like a drum. To also consider, we might take the L for the loss this election, and Trump could beat Biden, okay? And they're going to focus on 2020 anyway, okay? And then focus on Gavin Newsom. But people will forget his disastrous debate between Florida's Ron DeSantis, a debate that neither one of them needed to have. But by then, they will be reminded daily by the mainstream media that DeSantis could not resist the carrot stick. Trump's going to be in jail. You need to run. And they try to topple Trump. And Trump's a man who went down there and saved his campaign. He was losing by 12 points. Andrew Gillum. He went the day of the election and he squeaked by the first term. And then he won 80% landslide. The biggest in Florida's history on his second term. So you can thank Donald Trump for that. But has he thanked Donald Trump? He stabs him in the back. And see, to me, loyalty is the number one thing. I don't care how incompetent you are. I don't care how borderline good you are, whatever. If you're loyal, that counts a lot. Believe me. Yeah, that counts. If you're so bad, I'll find you a job. I'll find you a spot. Okay. We had a guy named Brian Fowles. He was so bad, but he meant well. He was so bad. Here, sit down and read these books while we run the machines here at the vaccine development at Fort Detrick. Just stay there and don't move. And that's what we did with him. He couldn't do anything. He had 2 left thumbs and 2 left feet. So for now, I think the Democrats are going to stick with Joe Biden, and pending the clean bill of health. And Trump could possibly beat Kamala Harris, but might not beat anybody else, including Joe Biden. So we'll see. So always great day to be American. Thank you, folks. Go Donald Trump, and I'll see you in the next video. Stop the filming, stop the presses, cut. I filmed one this morning, but there was a huge error, and I decided to film later when the temperatures cool down. It's over 105 in Ventura. It's like 113 in my office here. The air conditioner's not working, and I'm dying. Since then, within the last 6 to 8 hours, article after article are getting streamed in on my news feeds. 2 out of 3 articles each has the Democrats wanting Kamala stepping aside. I'll put the screenshots up here. 50-50 has got Joe Biden support and non-support. The Democrats are correct in thinking that a healthier Joe Biden could fare better, if not beat Trump again. But they do not want Kamala Harris to face Trump. So maybe they're convinced that Trump can beat Kamala Harris. Maybe he can. Like I said in this part 3, my prediction, pending the physician's official physical of Joe Biden, that the Democrats are going to take their chances with Joe Biden. They're going to go all in, roll the dice with that, be what it may. If they lose with Joe Biden, they're going to stick with Trump with the impending recession and to pound the GOP into permanent submission starting in 2028. That's when Gavin Newsom will ascend to power. Here's the info regarding the M1 and M2 money supplies being wrecked by this administration's careless, impulsive spending, and that caused the Great Depression in 1929. More on an upcoming video on how things are going to be if the Democrats win in 2024. It won't be pretty, it won't be nice. This election, 2024, is most important in our lifetime. I can't stress that enough. We need to get rid of this cabal. Remember, their 2 weeks turned to 2 months, turned to 2 years, and they want you to put him in office again. You put him back in office in the midterms, you should have got rid of most of them then, but you didn't. Because the Supreme Court was giving us marching orders, get that abortion leak out there, and they still haven't caught that leaker, have they? Stay tuned for the next video. Thank you. Always great day to be American. Go Donald Trump. Go Constitutional Republic. Go America. Go Americans. See you next video. Thank you.